This works as a seed, and then there is the soil of the lower three principles. Once again, we are attracted again to the soil by the desires we have before we die, and according to the law of magnetism, we are attracted to such parents that are exactly fit to give us the required body and mind. For example, if we lived a horrible life in the past life, enough to produce great diseases and a horrible mind, this seed will be attracted to such parents who give us the heredity of incurable diseases and a horrible mind with criminal tendencies, etc. We understand it either according to heredity or according to karma, not knowing that the two are one, because we are attracted to the type of parents that have the fitness of heredity and the fitness of mind. That is, those who have a heredity that is fit for us to be received, and if we are to receive a healthy body, if we lived a pious and healthy life in the past birth, automatically we will be attracted to pure souls as parents, and we receive a good heredity of body and mind, so that the continuity of work is carried. The good work which we have conducted in the previous birth is continued in this life. For example, in the previous birth, if you were a great devotee, you wanted to practice God life, but you were born as the child of atheists or materialists who do not believe in higher things, and lifelong you had to fight out your way. It gives you a good environment in this life. Now you are attracted to the type of parents you require. For example, you will be attracted to holy and pious parents who have a simple and godly mind, who have real belief, and who have instinctive mastery over their mind and senses, so that your environment is no problem to you. Like this, the problems of one birth will be solved in the next, according to the initiative we have taken in one birth. But if we have created some involvements in this birth, we will be attracted to parents who give us more involvements, so that we have to solve for ourselves and prepare a better path for the next birth. For example, a fellow who is a problem to his parents will be attracted to the same type of parents in the next birth, so that the parent is a cruel idiot who creates problems to the child from the beginning, and the child has to lead a life of compromise, so that his angularities are all rounded and his emotions are all paved properly, and in the next birth he can have a better choice. Wow. Like this, the continuity goes on until we cross the first three planes of existence, and we begin to live in the fourth, fifth, sixth and seventh planes of our consciousness. When we begin to exist in the higher planes, the lower bodies will die and again they will be given to us, but the continuity is there, because we never lived in the perishable half of our life. We begin to live in the imperishable half. This is the training we are expected to receive, and to give us the opportunity to this training, death is given to us, and we are expected to practice an attitude of passivity to death. We should neither fear death nor desire death. Some people feel that it is better for them to die soon. Some people feel a suicidal tendency. Some people try to commit suicide and put an end to their body. Some people think that it is holy to believe that they should die soon. All these foolish ideas should go away, because life is given to us, it is never proposed by us, and we have no right to desire to die early or to live longer. We have no right to fear death, because this body is not ours. It is not gained by ourselves. It is given to us as an institution, as a school to gain experience. We are permitted to live in it. We are not the owners of it, nor our parents are its owners. The owner is the nature, and the indweller is the ego, who is called the permanent atom in the spiritual science. And he has his beautiful story of evolution of man, which he has to narrate to himself through births and rebirths, and which he has to enact it as a drama, at the same time enjoying as the audience of the drama also. Others form the drama to him, and himself is the audience. And this drama is enacted. This drama is acted, and when the drama is completed, all the emotional and intellectual inequalities and animalism is eliminated from us. Then there is what is called divine life, which gives us the births and deaths. We do not die when we leave the body. We are not born when the body is born. And we live with such a consciousness, a continuous consciousness, and go on doing the same work from birth to birth. This is the purpose of death. And as the evolution permits us to understand the significance of death, we will have a more scientific and less emotional understanding of death. This is something about the function of death. And the story of the boy who reached Yama gives us all the clues of what death is. The word Yama means regulation, that is discipline. The discipline required to gain mastery over the body, senses and mind. That is the first three principles, lower principles. And then existing in the fourth and the above higher principles, when your life is called a life of immortality. Thank you all. In the same body, yes. Instinct of conservation is always necessary to the animals. Fear is also necessary for self-preservation. But since we have crossed the evolution of animal stage and we are given the power to discriminate, we can have the same preservation without the necessity of fear. That's why discrimination is given to the human kingdom. Understanding is given to us, which is not there in the animal kingdom. Therefore, the animal requires fear to protect itself. And for the human being, self-preservation needs only instinct and no fear. Because intellect has replaced fear, we have no actual necessity of fear of death. It is only the degree of evolution that gives us the freedom from fear of death. Just as a fruit, when it is completely ripe, it is freed from the tree. Similarly, when our evolution is complete, when there is no need to fear, self-preservation is left to us, and fear of death will be removed from us by the same nature. Not fearing death is not foolishness. It is not the foolish way of running into risks, but it is a full understanding and a better understanding of things. Just as the expert in conducting feats of circus, not spectacle, but the person who conducts feats, he can manage things without a risk because of his training. Similarly, the trained fellow in God life can manage with the instinct of self-preservation with the help of his passive attitude so that his time may be better spent for more valuable work. That is what they mean. The legend of the boy, it is not a question whether it is historical or legend. When something carries a truth for us to understand, and when something has a deeper significance, it is always true whether it happened or not. For example, if a novelist writes a novel, we know that the story is false and it has not happened. Even then we are reading the novel with great interest. In the same way, a story which has not happened and a story which is a legend is much more valuable and true than a novel because it carries eternal truth with it. For that truth we care for stories and not for the historicity of any incident. Suicide? Yes. The crime of committing suicide is the same in both the fellows, and the proposal of the crime has its own stamp upon the consciousness of both the fellows. The one who has succeeded will experience the agony of his criminal act after death and before the next birth, whereas the second example, he experiences the same agony before his death. That is a question which cannot be solved because once again his individual karma is there to permit us to help him or not. The best attempt to help him and save him is the only thing we can do. The rest exists with his previous karma. Whether he permits us to help him or not does not depend upon us, but it depends upon him. So it is for us only to make a sincere attempt. There ends our duty. Of course, it is also equally emotional because if we understand the fact that the way in which we die depends upon the way in which we have lived, it can be also received without any emotion. Because always the way in which we die directly depends upon the way in which we lived our life. So a proper understanding of this will give us a more scientific and a less emotional attitude towards the way of death also. Because there are people who gained mastery enough to look at their own pain in an objective way. In the next birth, they will be careful to live a better life, to have a normal and natural and instinctive death. It is those people who die within a split second doing their work and being active. That requires a life of some principles that depends upon our behavior with our food, drink, sleep, work and sex, and our attitude towards others. So one life training is necessary for the nature of death of that life. Not only Gandhi, there are many such examples. Yes, after a certain stage of evolution, masters begin to live in the higher principles, whereas there is no karma to the lower three principles. And in such cases, it is the karma of the nation or the race or the country that reflects upon them, and it results in an incident. Just as the karma of the whole human kingdom of this earth planet resulted in the crucifixion of Lord Christ. So it is not their karma, but it is the karma of humanity. Very good question. So thank you.